Imagine this. After brutally murdering 4 people, he calmly walks straight into the kitchen, opens the refrigerator, and pulls out 4 tubs of ice cream, one by one. And he sits down right next to the cold corpses while eating the ice cream. He boots up the family computer, surfs the internet, and tries to buy theater tickets, as if absolutely nothing happened. This is the definition of a true psychopath.
December 30th, 2000. The entire city of Tokyo is buzzing with New Year's Eve celebrations, but in an isolated corner of the city, a house stands dead silent. The next morning, a grandmother repeatedly calls her daughter's house. Once, twice, 3 times, no answer. Finally, she walks over to a daughter's home, stands at the front door, and rings the bell. Total silence. She pushes the door open herself, and then she sees something that even after 25 years remains the ultimate nightmare for all of Japan. 4 people, same family, same house, no survivors. 280,000 cops, 1.3 million DNA tests, 5 million fingerprints, and after a quarter of a century, 0 arrests. This is the Setagaya Family Massacre. Setagaya Ward, a quiet neighborhood in western Tokyo. It used to be full of life, packed with families, but by the turn of the century, residents had moved out one by one. Homes were sold, streets became empty. By December 2000, only 4 families remained in the entire area. One of them was the Miyazawa family. The father, Mikio, 44 years old. The mother, Yasuko, a teacher who taught kids at home, 41 years old. Their daughter, Niina, 8 years old, and their son, Rei, 6 years old. Little Rei had some developmental challenges. That's why Yasuko didn't want to leave the area. She feared her son wouldn't adjust to a new place. They had already sold their land for a park expansion project, but their relocation kept getting delayed. December 30th started out completely normal. New Year's shopping, coming home, dinner, TV, then sleep. But in the dead of night, sometime after 11 p.m., a shadow creeps through Kamisoshigaya Park, climbs over the back fence of the yard. He climbs a tree and reaches the small open bathroom window on the 2nd floor. He didn't come empty-handed. He brought a sashimi knife, long, thin, and impossibly sharp. Investigators later realized this man wasn't breaking into a house for the first time. He knew exactly where to go, and he didn't rush, not even a single bit. As soon as he broke into the house, he went straight to the nearest room. It was the room of 6-year-old Rei. Rei was fast asleep. The killer strangled him to death. No screams, no warning, just a silent death. Rei was the only victim killed by strangulation, not by the knife. Then something happened. Mikio probably heard a sound, a father's survival instinct. He runs upstairs, and right there, a violent struggle breaks out. Mikio didn't run. He fought brutally. His body had defensive wounds, proof of resistance until his last breath. And during that fight, Mikio managed to wound the killer. The killer's blood spilled inside the house. This single piece of evidence would later become the epicenter of the entire investigation. In the middle of the struggle, the sashimi knife gets driven deep into Mikio's skull, and the blade snaps. The broken fragment remains trapped inside his skull. What would a normal person do at this moment? Panic and flee, right? But not this guy. He goes down to the kitchen, opens a drawer, picks out a santoku knife belonging to the family. Then, completely unbothered, he walks back upstairs because his job wasn't done yet. Yasuko and Niina were sleeping in the attic. They had woken up. They tried to climb down the folding ladder, but they couldn't make it. Their bodies were found huddled together at the top of the 2nd floor stairs, and the youngest daughter, Niina, had injuries that proved she died last. Even after death, the killer didn't stop.
because Nina's teeth were shattered. This wasn't just rage. It wasn't panic either. It was cold, calculated cruelty. And this is where the case gets truly bizarre. After the slaughter, the killer stayed inside that house for hours, right in the middle of 4 dead bodies. He goes to the kitchen, opens the fridge, takes out ice cream, watermelon, and pours some barley tea. He didn't even use a spoon. He squeezed the ice cream tubs and bit directly into them, leaving saliva and fingerprints all over the kitchen. Then he tracks down the family's first aid kit. His hand was cut during the struggle. He bandages it up, leaving the bloody tissues behind, like a twisted gift for law enforcement. Next, he goes to the first-floor storage room and rifles through the family's private documents. He drags a drawer out and dumps it right into the bathtub. He uses the bathroom and doesn't even flush. Then he boots up the family computer at 1:18 a.m. He browses the internet, creates a new folder. He even visits the website of a local theater company. The media dubbed this the Goldilocks murder because this killer treated the family's house like his own. He ate their food, used their bathroom, sat at their computer. The next morning at 10:30 a.m., Yasuko's mother, Haruko, pushes the door open, and at the bottom of the stairs, the first thing she sees is the lifeless body of her son-in-law. The house was a gold mine of evidence. A former senior officer later stated, "The crime scene was a mountain of evidence, and everyone thought the solution wasn't far off." But the truth remains shrouded in mystery. Law enforcement established the killer's profile: male between 15 and 35 years old, height around 5'6" or 5'7", slender build, type A blood. He wore a gray bucket hat, a white and purple baseball shirt, a Uniqlo jacket, black gloves, and a gray and black hip bag. His shoes were Slazenger sneakers, size 27.5 centimeters. But here is the first riddle. Slazenger shoes of this specific size were never sold in Japan. They were only sold in Korea. Cops worked with Korean authorities to check their fingerprint database. 0 matches. Then investigators analyzed the contents inside the hip bag. Scraps of skateboard grip tape, traces of Drake Noir men's cologne, and a small amount of sand. That sand was analyzed. This sand does not exist anywhere in Japan. It came from the Mojave Desert in California, specifically the area surrounding the Edwards Air Force Base, U.S. military base sand inside a house in Tokyo at midnight. Does this sound like a routine burglary? So who was he really? Cops faced multiple theories. Theory 1, a robbery gone wrong, but it doesn't add up. Robbers don't break in when the whole family is home, and their first act isn't murdering a sleeping 6-year-old child. Nearly $2,000 in cash was left out in the open. He barely touched it. Theory 2, a serial killer or a psychopath. The attack on the females was far more brutal. Yasuko fought till the end, enduring extreme trauma. Niina died last, and the beating continued even after her death. This points to personal animosity. Theory 3, the skateboarder connection. A few days before the murders, Mikio had gone to the adjacent skate park to complain about the loud noise from local skaters. A taxi driver reported that on the night of the murders, he picked up 3 men near the area. One of them had a hand injury, and there were bloodstains on the seat. The hip bag also contained skateboard grip tape. But after interrogating everyone at the skate park, the cops found nothing. This theory went nowhere. The most popular theory, the military connection. DNA reveals that the killer's maternal lineage is of South European descent, while his paternal side is East Asian, a man of mixed ancestry. The sand from a U.S. desert in his bag, Korean shoes on his feet. The theory suggests he likely worked at the Edwards Air Force Base and was later transferred to the Yokota Air Base in Japan, which was just an hour away from the Miyazawa home.
He might have learned Japanese from his Asian father. He knew the country, knew the language. That's why he could read the family's documents and blend into the neighborhood perfectly. Another theory came from a book by an investigative journalist under the pseudonym Fumiya Ichihashi. He claimed the killer was a former Korean military hitman hired by local real estate developers because the family refused to move out even after selling the land. But this theory has a major flaw. A professional hitman doesn't hang around a crime scene for hours eating ice cream, leaving a mountain of evidence and displaying such erratic post-mortem brutality.
Do you want to know what the most haunting part is? The Miyazawa family home is still standing there, even after more than 25 years. Tokyo law enforcement keeps it preserved as an active crime scene. Every year, at the end of December, investigators visit the site. They bow their heads, they make a public appeal for new information, then they leave, and the house falls back into dead silence, as if it's still waiting for someone to return, waiting for someone to tell the truth. But to this day, 1.3 million DNA samples have been cross-checked, 5 million fingerprints have been compared, but there is no name, no face. There is only one question left. That night, who stepped into that house, and why did he sit next to slaughtered human beings, calmly eating ice cream? If the killer is alive today, he would be in his 40s or 50s by now. Maybe he has a family of his own. Maybe he has a regular job. Maybe to the outside world, he appears to be a completely normal man. But every year, when December 30th rolls around, he knows what he did. He knows that a house in Tokyo is still waiting for him. The evidence is still there, but the answers are missing. And maybe, just maybe, at this exact moment, he is sitting somewhere watching a video about his own case.